Iranians are not Muslim anymore. There was a survey out recently. More than 66% of Iranians, they denounce Islam. So we're not radicals. Iranians are not radicals. And you can see it in the protest in Iran. You don't hear a single Allahu Akbar. You know, it's all about being free. So Iranians are not like radicals. I do not want boots on the ground. I do not want the same experience that happened in Afghanistan or Iraq. Yeah? What we need is aerial strikes. The people have risen. They've been protesting for the last 12 or 13 days. The regime has started killing people. We really need
intervention. Trump, you've already proven yourself to be a peacemaker. You've proven everything you need to prove. Just help us this one last time. We need you and you need us. If Iran unites, it's going to benefit US, it's going to benefit Israel, it's going to benefit the whole world. Do it for your country and do it for our country, Trump.
Keep your promises and help out with Iran.
Do you think that the Iranian women will now ensure that there are new beginnings for Iran this time around, where they're basically done with the Sharia, they're done with the hijab?
They never wanted the Sharia, they never wanted the hijab. It was forced upon them.
Tommy Robinson did not arrive at the Whitehall protest expecting to have his assumptions challenged. He came thinking this was going to be another familiar scene where anger points outward, where slogans are recycled, and where Islam is defended by people who have never lived under it. But within minutes of arriving, Tommy began to notice something different happening.
Eunice, how are you?
Good, man.
Let me start off first of all. Eunice is always dressed so smart. He always looks good, okay? Always looks good. But Eunice, where was you born?
So I was born in Tehran, Iran. I came here when I was 13 years old. I have first-hand experience of how the Islamic Republic oppresses its own people. And for 47 years, we had darkness in Iran. Iran is one of the richest, most powerful countries in the world. And we were taken by a bunch of Islamists 47 years ago, right? So I wonder why the BBC and Keir Starmer are not speaking about Iranians that are dying in Iran, but they keep speaking about Palestine.
These voices are not asking for protection from jihad terrorists that had taken over their land for 47 years. They are begging for the truth to be told about what Islam truly is.
You tell the British audience, when the Islamic Revolution happened, what the Islamists done with the left wing. How did it work? How did it work?
It was the unholy marriage of Marxists and Islamists. And that's exactly what is happening now in the West. It's the unholy marriage of the woke and the Islamists. And they usually collaborate together. And usually what happens is that Muslims end up killing all the Marxists when they get in power. So they use the naivety of liberals to get into power. And that's exactly what happened in Iran. And you know, I'm a capitalist, I'm a right-winger. And the funny thing is, usually the right is right. You know, so the left-wingers usually get it wrong. And I'd wonder why Keir Starmer is not speaking about the struggle, the Iranian struggle. The real apartheid, the real occupation is in the Islamic Republic and Iran, not in fucking Gaza.
So I just want people to understand the point of when the Islamic Republic took over, that the left, the Marxists and the communists, worked with them, were in bed with them, fought with them, violently fought with them. And if you want to watch what may happen to Britain, you just have to look what happened in Iran. How quickly did the country change in 1979?
It changed very quickly for the worse, rapidly, within weeks. And the funny thing is, Khomeini used President Carter, used the naivety of the left and the BBC in this country to get into power. And when he got into power, he backstabbed the West. So within weeks, he occupied the American embassy, you know, took hostages. So Carter thought that Khomeini can be controlled, because the reason why the Shah was overthrown is because he increased the price of oil. So it was all to do with money. So they overthrew the Shah, they installed Khomeini in place, and then within a week or two, Khomeini betrayed the West. And that's why we...
The scene itself already looks like a contradiction to everything Britain is used to seeing. No green Islamist flags. No chants about holy war. No calls to erase the West. Instead, lion and sun flags wave in the cold air, symbols deliberately pulled from a past Iran that existed before clerics seized power. Families stand together. Old men clutch banners with shaking hands. Young women stand uncovered, openly defiant. Even children hold signs asking for freedom, not conquest.
Hello everyone, I am in central London and I'm outside the Iranian embassy. Why am I outside the Iranian embassy? I'm outside the Iranian embassy because innocent Iranians are being butchered and slaughtered at the hands of an Islamic regime. An Islamic regime, if you're watching this and you're British and you say, what the fuck has this got to do with us? We helped put that fucking Ayatollah, this scumbag, into that country, and they've enslaved the people since 1979. So people who are not Muslim have been enslaved by Islam, forced to wear a hijab. Women, the only real feminist movement that I've seen in my lifetime, the real one, not this third wave bullshit, the only real feminist movement I've seen is those brave, fearless girls who take off their hijab to dance and sing and get murdered. There's been so many murders if you go back through each of these uprisings. What you're seeing now is a revolution happening in Iran. And it's a revolution happening by people who don't want to be enslaved by Islam. And right now, they need that wanker in charge of our country. I personally think we should be blowing the shit out of everything that Ayatollah holds. His military bases, everything. He needs to be hit now while the people are rising up. I've just come here to walk over to send my little personal thing to say, without getting run over, well, I try to anyway, is to send a message. I don't usually like burning things. Will you hold that so it's on me? You got it on me? Yeah. Let's both do it like. You take that one, I'll do that. Right? That is the Ayatollah. When you say who is the Ayatollah...
As Tommy moves through the protest, the tone shifts almost immediately. These are not people asking for Islam to be respected. These are people warning Britain about what Islam becomes when it gains power. And that's what stuns him. Because the warnings aren't coming from critics, atheists, or right-wing activists. They are coming from Iranians who grew up inside the system Western liberals still describe as misunderstood.
I think if you look at British or Western history, each time we've been on the side of the jihadists, the Mujahideen. We've done it in Serbia. We've done it with the Taliban. We created the Taliban. We've done it with ISIS in Syria. So that's what happened in 1979. We overthrew that. Well, we helped, and the BBC supported the implementation of terrorists to control a nation. Now the difference, what's the difference, Eunice, between Afghanistan? Because people talk about Western intervention and they don't want Western intervention. What's the difference between Afghanistan and what we're seeing in Iran? The people. What's the difference between the people?
So Iranians are not radicals. We're not even Muslim. Islam was something that was imposed on us 1,400 years ago. Our original religion is Zoroastrian, which is a very open, fun religion, right? Iranians are not Muslim anymore. There was a survey out recently. More than 66% of Iranians, they denounce Islam. So we're not radicals. Iranians are not radicals. And you can see it in the protest in Iran. You don't hear a single Allahu Akbar. You know? It's all about being free. So Iranians are not like radicals. I do not want boots on the ground. I do not want the same experience that happened in Afghanistan or Iraq. Yeah? What we need is aerial strikes. The people have risen. They've been protesting for the last 12 or 13 days. The regime has started killing people. We really need international support right now.
Tommy listens as men and women describe a society where belief stopped being personal and became compulsory. Where disagreement wasn't debated but punished. Where women's bodies became political property. And slowly, it becomes clear why these people are standing in London, thousands of miles from home, risking attention and retaliation. They have seen something forming in the West that feels disturbingly familiar.
Flag justifies paedophilia. That country there, out behind Hamas, Hezbollah, they support every terrorist regime that is targeting us, the West, all of us, yeah? They're weak and they're on their arse because Israel's fucking obliterated them since October 7th. So I'm here just to show my disgust and ask you, I don't know if it's going to go because I have hold of this. Hey, mate. I've seen ladies doing this. Let me take I've seen women doing this just to show their disgust. That's our disgust in Great Britain. Fuck the Ayatollah, yeah? And freedom. Freedom for all those women, yeah? And freedom for all the Iranians. Thank you so much. And if you can, there's a demonstration happening right here. There's people outside here every day, yeah? But come down and support them as members of the British public. Do you know the power went out? The power went out in Iran at 8 p.m. All internet, all phones. All these people who've got family in that country, it's a blackout. It's a blackout because his killing forces have gone butchering citizens, yeah? So show your support this Sunday, 3 p.m. right here. Come down here, show your support. This Sunday, 3 p.m. Here, yeah? Number 10. Oh, front of Downing Street. Yeah. Tomorrow and Sunday, but I'll be there Sunday reporting for you at 10 Downing Street. Get your asses there, show some support, show your disgust at the Islamic regime, and pray that this Ayatollah and their corrupt Islamic supremacist mindset falls, and falls soon, so then you can see the parties in Venezuela that you saw the people celebrating. Wait to see the celebrations coming out of Iran from the Persians, yeah?
You see, authoritarian religion doesn't arrive screaming. It arrives wrapped in victimhood, protected by guilt, shielded by accusations of racism. In Iran, left-wing activists once believed Islamists would be useful allies against the monarchy. They believed they could control them, moderate them, partner with them. And once the clerics took power, those same leftists were imprisoned, exiled, or executed. Standing outside Downing Street, that history doesn't sound distant anymore. It sounds uncomfortably close.
Tommy Robinson, thank you for joining in on CNN News 18. What's your Sunday protest in the UK hoping to achieve for Iranians? Is it time for the diaspora community of Iran to finally stand up, given we've seen Iranians in New York having rallied in support of Iran's national revolution?
So it's not my protest. I'm not organising it. I'm literally going as a supporter. I'm going to show solidarity with the brave and fearless people of Iran. Now, in Britain, because a lot of people say, what's it have to do with Britain? It has a lot to do with Britain because we helped put the Ayatollah in, as did the West, America. We have dirty hands. It's time to correct a historical wrong. That's what I believe. And it's time to stand with those brave, fearless people. For 47 years, they've lived in slavery. I've kept my eye on Iran since the start of my activism. Iran's very different to Afghanistan, Iraq, for the people who are trying to equate it with that situation, because many of those countries were happy to live under Sharia. If you listen to the views of the people in Iraq and Afghanistan and these countries, they want Sharia, they want Islam. That's very different to Persia. It's very different to the Iranian people who have been enslaved by it. Now, we hear so much about feminism in the West, in Europe, in America, and we had the Me Too movement, and we had all these feminist groups and politicians and actors and celebrities speaking up. Well, the only real feminists I've seen in my lifetime, the only real brave, fearless women I've seen are Persian women, and they're in Iran. And they want to dance, they want theatre, they want art, and they want to show their hair. And for showing their hair, they've been butchered.
It's interesting you speak about these women, because the protests are clearly no longer just about Iran's failed economy and hyperinflation. Images of women lighting up cigarettes by burning the Ayatollah's pictures are going viral. They're burning their headscarves. For the women in Iran, there's been no closure, remember, despite the massive protests that happened in 2022 after the death of Mahsa Amini in police.
What shocks Tommy most is how openly the protesters talk about rejection. Not reform. Rejection. Many openly say Islam has no future in Iran. That the slogans of the current uprising deliberately avoid religious language. That mosques are empty. For years, Western media has insisted Islam is inseparable from Iranian identity. Here, Iranians themselves are saying the opposite. Loudly. Without apology.
Eunice, what are these people chanting here?
They're just saying the death to Khamenei, Javid Shah, and also, basically saying the MEK are worse. So, we have the official opposition, which is Pahlavi, and these are supporters of Pahlavi, and I support them too.
And tell me, what's the difference? Tell me what's the difference. Tell me what the difference is between Reza Shah and Javid Shah. Tell me what the difference is between Javid Shah and MEK.
So the MEK is the Islamist communist movement. So that's the MEK. We call it Mujahideen. Yeah? And I'm not a Mujahideen because I'm not a communist and I'm not an Islamist. Yeah? So I think Javid Shah is basically, he's the son of the Pahlavi, the last king in 1917. He's the son. And his granddad used to be the king as well. So I think, look, at this moment in time, we have no one else. So we have to rally around Pahlavi. And maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, we can have a referendum to see what people actually want. Yeah? We need a transitional government.
At this point, Tommy begins drawing connections out loud, and the crowd responds immediately. They nod when he talks about imported authoritarianism. They understand it instinctively. They've seen it before. They explain how regimes don't need armies when they can export intimidation. How dissidents are hunted abroad. How fear travels across borders. How silence in the West isn't neutrality, but permission. And that's when the hypocrisy becomes impossible to ignore.
Do you think that the Iranian women will now ensure that there are new beginnings for Iran this time around, where they're basically done with the Sharia, they're done with the hijab?
They never wanted the Sharia. They never wanted the hijab. It was forced upon them. So I pray that they do get their freedom, and I believe that we can play a role and we should play a role. And that's what I believe. So as I'm watching it develop, I've watched this for years, as you have. You just talk about previous protests, and I've watched and thought, is this the time? Is this happening now? Is it going to happen? Are they going to fall? This is the closest I've ever seen. This is the largest scale protest, the biggest rise, the biggest revolution we've seen. But I don't think they can do it alone, because right now, jihadists are flooding that country from Lebanon. They're flooding from Iraq. They're coming from all over the place, flooding into Iran to enslave, murder, and kill the uprising and the brave and fearless people. So what Sunday is about, and I think what the Western world needs to show now, and everyone who loves freedom and believes in human rights and believes in the rights of people, should be showing their solidarity, which is all up. I'm going on Sunday just to stand to hope that those Iranian protesters who, if they can get a glimmer through Starlink and they can get internet access in any way, they can see that the world and the people and the free-loving people around the globe stand with them, and hopefully they get some inspiration from seeing that the world is watching. The world's watching. If we didn't have X, if Elon Musk didn't buy X, no one would know about this revolution, because the absolute failure of Western media, journalists, again, where are the celebrities? Where are all these people who speak up for Palestine? Where are they? Where are they now? When women are being butchered, murdered, men are being obliterated by the state with machine guns, people are being massacred for exercising their rights to oppose an Islamic fascist supremacist.
Protesters are openly questioning why Western streets fill instantly for some causes but remain silent for theirs. Why are flags waved for movements that openly support the same ideology crushing Iran? Why media outlets that obsess over human rights suddenly lose interest when the abuser claims divine authority? No one in this crowd needs Islam explained to them. They have lived under it. They are still living under it. But hopefully this might signal the end.
What would it mean for the people of Iran if the transitional government ended up being MEK? Because I'm seeing a lot of quite influential Americans speaking on behalf of MEK. Why are they doing that, and what's that? Explain that.
So basically, the problem that Shah Pahlavi has is that he doesn't have an army behind him. That's what I mean about Britain. Whereas the MEK, they do have an army. They do have an army. So you know, we have to make sure MEK doesn't get into power. You know. So yeah, who's that guy?
Shall we? Can you bring this camera? I want to go speak to the BBC. Let's go find the BBC, yeah? Shall we go there? Yeah, I need a couple of us, yeah? Yeah, I have to go to it. That's all right, I've got it. Yeah. How are you, man? How are you? America. Okay. How are you, mate? How are you, bro? Yeah. Where's this camera? Yes, all right. That's all right. I'm just looking for BBC.
By now, Tommy isn't leading the conversation. He's simply absorbing it because honestly this is too much. The usual script has flipped. Instead of him warning minorities about extremism, minorities are now warning Britain. Instead of him being accused of exaggeration, he's being told he hasn't gone far enough. The lady speaks about not being able to contact family because the regime shuts down the internet completely. No politics. No ideology. Just separation and ear. It's impossible to hear that and maintain the comforting illusion that this is all abstract. This is what rule by clerics looks like in practice.
Regime. Iran are behind everything. Iran have been behind all the terrorism in the world. The West will be a safer place. The world will be a better place if that Ayatollah falls. I can't wait to see the parties and the scenes in Iran when they're finally free. And I hope that this is, I think, the Islamic regime, I think if you could put it on their headstone, it'll be 1979 to 2026. Game over.
So it's interesting you spoke about terrorism. We speak about the wrongs that you said they need to be made right. Iran's exiled Prince Reza Pahlavi has called for the intervention of the US President Donald Trump. But can Donald Trump's say threats to intervene in Iran help civilians battling rising inflation, a tanking currency, a tanking economy?
It's a tanking currency, rising inflation because of Iran and the sanctions against Iran and against them because of their terrorist ideology coming out of the country, because of who they support and who they work with. Free them, replace them with the Shah, replace them with Reza, and then hopefully we'll see a new Iran and a free people and a prospering nation. Look at Iran before 1979. Look at it before. It was a beautiful, prosperous, absolute jewel of the area. Sorry. Whoops. Yeah. So I hope Donald Trump has 200 people were killed, butchered in Tehran, 200 civilians. were butchered by the regime. So I really hope Donald Trump intervenes. I think he can play a part. I think we should play a part. And I just hope every day I'm waking up, I'm thinking I just want to see that the Ayatollah has fled. Well, I don't want to see him flee, actually. I want to see him dead, or I want to see him tried and prosecuted. But I just, at the same time, if he does flee, it'll be the fall of the Islamic regime. So.
And the message becomes unmistakable. It is not about race, immigration, or the cliched talking points. It's about power and what happens when belief is protected too much. The Iranian protesters aren't asking Britain to hate Muslims. They're simply begging Britain not to repeat their mistake.
If Trump was watching this right now, what would you say to him?
Trump, you've already proven yourself to be a peacemaker. You've proven everything you need to prove. Just help us this one last time. We need you and you need us. If Iran unites, it's going to benefit US, it's going to benefit Israel, it's going to benefit the whole world. Do it for your country and do it for our country, Trump.
Keep your promises and help out with Iran, because we're sick and tired of it.
We need action from you, President Trump, and we'll never forget this help. Iranian people will forever be grateful for this and will be one of your best allies all around the world.
They promised us, how many more people should be killed to stopping them.
Just act now, Donald Trump, please act now. Iranians need your support, please.
Please make our country free. It's been 47 years, and you are the hero. You can make that happen, Donald Trump. Please do it.
Mr. President, people really have high hopes that you will act. Please, Mr. President, people are fighting this brutal regime empty-handed. They need your help, and you will forever be remembered.
As the camera pulls back, showing the scale of the protest, we can see one very unavoidable truth. If Islam were simply peaceful, if its political form were just misunderstood, these people wouldn't be here. They wouldn't risk exposure. They wouldn't beg the world to pay attention. They wouldn't warn Britain with this level of urgency.
The Iranian regime has also threatened preemptive military action if the US and Israel intervene. So Iran's security chief, in fact, just today, Ali Larijani, has declared that it's already a war with the protesters and the regime will not back down before the protesters. Does a possible US involvement not risk more bloodshed and suffering for Iranians?
Iran has been at war. The Islamic regime has been at war with the West for decades. This is nothing new. As I said, they fund their proxy armies absolutely everywhere to destabilize, to destroy, to cause, to break the West. They've been working.
Tommy came expecting to document a protest. What he ends up documenting is a warning. One Britain has been avoiding for far too long. Please do not hesitate to reach down the comments section and show your support to these protesters in your own little way. Thank you for watching.